Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Tom Worth Jr. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the breakdown of the rule of law. Eric Adams, Mayor of New York. Last I saw, 7 prosecutors had resigned over this, 7 principled individuals. That would be a tough thing to do, to walk away from your job, to walk away from your career over a principle. It would be very easy to do what you're told to do. Hey, I was just following orders. And these people are not doing that. These people are heroes. They remind me of the people in the State Department back with the original quid pro quo in Trump's first term, people who were on the calls with Ukraine and Trump, and this is turning into another quid pro quo situation with Eric Adams, with the administration twisting his arm to get him to go along with their immigration policies in exchange for not being prosecuted for crimes he did commit. And these crimes go back years. He has himself, Adams himself, has blamed it on persecution by the Biden administration, but some of these things predate the Biden administration by quite a bit. So it's nothing to do with Biden. It never is. It's just Trump's boogeyman. Biden. Used to be Clinton. So, and the dude, he's a Democrat. He used to be a Republican. He ran as a Democrat. He is the mayor, and he's on Fox News sitting down with them on this past Friday. So that tells you what you need to know about this guy. He is running for re-election this year. So far, although these prosecutors have resigned, last I saw, the case still hadn't actually been dismissed yet. The paperwork still hadn't actually been filed yet. The people who are supposed to be filing this paperwork to do this dismissal are among the people resigning. They don't want to be associated with it, with carrying out these orders. And again, this comes down to our judicial branch doing the right thing. This is the branch where individuals can act. Donald Trump, obviously, he's not going to act. Any of his appointees are not going to act. And Congress itself is not going to act, because even if the Democrats were doing anything, it wouldn't matter. They don't have the numbers that the Republicans have. The Republicans are not acting. They are, in Congress, they are acting as a body and not as individuals. Interestingly, we still have Mitch McConnell raging against the dying light, with being the only Republican senator to vote for Gabbard, to vote against Gabbard, and not confirm some of these people. I want to say he was the only one to not vote to confirm RFK Jr. either. But here's the problem. Some of these senators and some of these representatives have been there for a while, and they saw the naked, brazen abuse of power that Mitch McConnell himself engaged in for all of the years he was the head of the Senate. And if they're old enough, they would remember, not long before that, Nancy Pelosi on the House of Representatives side with the Democrats. These were tyrants, Pelosi and McConnell, who ruled their chambers with iron fists, and you had to fall in line. There was no room for you to speak out or fall out of line. And that's a real problem, because the intent of Congress was to be a regional representation of the people in a way that the executive couldn't be. The executive is just one person. So that one person would never be able to represent all of the geographies and economic interests and social interests of the entire country. He or she could only get, some interests from some parts. And and whoever appealed to the most people would be elected. But the Congress was created so your agricultural interests or your industrial interests, your commercial interests, your shipping interests, your trading interests, your slavery interests, your freedom interests, all of these different interests could be represented in Congress. And then you could have debates in Congress. You could take it to the public through your writing skills, or on the House of Congress, on the floors of Congress through your oratorial skills. This is how, I mean, arguments were waged and won and lost. And now it's not that way. Now it's a person who's in charge of that chamber for one party, and that's the way that chamber has to go. We saw some people rearing their ugly heads in the House of Representatives on the GOP side before Mike Johnson took over, and even right when he took over. Your Matt Gaetzes, your Marjorie Taylor Greens, your Jim Jordans. But though Gaetz is gone, the rest have fallen silent, and that they're going to stay that way. On the Senate side, it's like they don't even exist. They were the ones with the power to reject Trump's ridiculous nominees for his cabinet picks, and they didn't. They voted for all of them, or they all voted for all of them except for McConnell. So we find ourselves in a position where the rule of law itself is in grave danger because of Pam Bondi. It's someone who has no business being anywhere near the Department of Justice. Yet there she sits at the top of it. She's the Attorney General of the United States. And contrary to the thinking of some, I have always viewed the Attorney General as a political instrument, a political tool, a political puppet by the president. I started looking at it that way back during Janet Reno's time as Attorney General. It was just all was very political, and it's long before her. That's when I started getting up in arms about it on the Democrat side. But it's always been the president will pick an Attorney General who the president thinks will be aligned with their thinking, and Trump just has to take it to an extreme with all these people, because rational, reasonable people will never align with his thinking. But it goes beyond that. He has to find corrupt individuals, usually criminally corrupt individuals, because he needs people that he has dirt on, that he can threaten and cajole and blackmail. And that's what he's found with Eric Adams in New York now. So he's using Pam Bondi to twist Eric Adams's arm. And it's sickening. It's nauseating, and New Yorkers wouldn't want any part of this. I'm not sure when the election is, and he'll run again because if he's not the mayor, he won't be able to carry out Trump's orders, right? So here's the interesting thing about the dismissal of these charges is it's being done in a way. It's being done without prejudice. It's being done so that the cases can be retried, or the charges can be tried again. I mean, he's already been indicted. The evidence is there. The case has been made. It needs to go to court. But this Attorney General office for the United States is making it such that they can always hold it over him. So not only does he have to run again, but he has to win. And if he doesn't, then he has no value for the Trump administration. And in that case, I mean, the guy is a Democrat, right? So what's going to happen then? Probably. Well, maybe they let the charges go ahead now. I don't know. Trump is a head of a crime family. So a lot of times, as long as you don't, as long as you do your part, they're not going to turn on you as long as you're loyal. That's why Trump values loyalty above all. That's the Eric Adams case, and it's just strange to me. You have these black religious leaders in New York who are trying to hold him to account as well. These are people that used to support him, and even they now are saying, well, no, that he shouldn't have done this, or if this is true, then that would be bad. Or he needs to come clean. Even these people are turning on him now, because if they're saying that publicly, then what they're saying to him behind closed doors is probably going to be pretty brutal, pretty rough. So this is what he's having to listen to, and still he's just doing what all Trump's people do, is they all try to just keep themselves out of prison. And I don't know. It's nauseating, because this is our justice system itself that Trump is dismantling. And in a way, that's probably in a big way, that's more upsetting than the international stuff. Because when we talk about Ukraine, we talk about alliances, we talk about why are we caving into Putin, why are we turning our back on our NATO partners. The thing is, they may be able to take care of things themselves. It's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be easy, and it will be seemingly impossible to go up against Russia without the United States. But there are still tremendous economic sanctions in place. Russia is still on its last legs, it seems like, economically. Putin's plan all along has been for Trump to be elected and then just be able to end the war and have Ukraine. But he wasn't counting on Europe and Zelensky saying, we don't really care what Trump is negotiating without us. So Rubio today, for instance, he's on Face the Nation. He did admit that basically it's the outline of a plan thing. Yes, there was a call between Trump and Putin last week, but even Rubio said, the Secretary of State said, yeah, obviously, if we are going to end the war at some point, we have to bring in Europe and we have to bring in Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine is the one being invaded. They have to be the ones to agree to stop defending their country, and Europe has to agree to that as well. So even Rubio says that Europe and Ukraine will eventually need to be a part of this. But the thing is, they don't have anything right now. They have a phone call. Basically, they have what Putin told Trump needs to happen. But that doesn't mean anybody's going to agree to it. So I'm still hopeful there. I'm still, I guess confident. I guess that things will work out in a way that is acceptable to Zelensky. And Ukraine. That's what I hope, and that's possible. But on the domestic front, with Pam Bondi in charge of the entire DOJ and able to drop any criminal case she wants in the federal court system in exchange for helping Trump do something, that's more quid pro quo. That is more, you just can't do that. You can't trade no prosecution for political favors. That's what they're talking about doing. And the person who was taking notes on this in New York, the notes were confiscated, and because they were documenting this quid pro quo offer. And of course the DOJ says no, that didn't happen. We're not at all doing that, because they know how bad that is. But when you're talking about the head of a crime family, that's all he knows is, you do this for me, I'll do that for you. That's all he knows. And it's always going to involve something illegal. Somebody did something illegal. I did, or you did, but hey, if you forgive this, I'll do this for you. It's just not the way America works officially. And Trump is trying to turn it into, that's the new way that America works. So that's why this is so distressing, because they're sitting on top of everything and they control everything. So outside of individual prosecutors resigning, individual judges blocking things or freezing things or deciding cases, that's really all we have left to resist Trump is the judiciary. It's not Congress. And it's not obviously Trump himself. So we've got a lot riding on our system of justice, truth, justice, in the American way. As I mentioned the other day, it is one of the biggies, and it is the rule of law, and it is what our entire society depends on and stands on, and that's the biggest thing he's taken a sledgehammer to. So he can flail around all he wants in the international arena. He's a clown, and his people are clowns. But on the justice side, they do get to do what they want as far as which cases to bring or not bring. That's that's a tough pill to swallow, but that's where we're at on that. Really, all I wanted to say on that today is and this is why I don't like talking about these criminal cases very much. It's just discouraging. But these are where the real heroes are. These are where people are staking their careers on it. They're walking away from their jobs, from their careers, based on their principles, based on what they signed up to do this for in the first place. And I feel for them, but I appreciate them, and they're great, and we should give them their due when the time comes, starting right now, like I'm doing. So that's it. Hope you all have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll talk tomorrow.